So my friend had a oil leak coming out of his '03 mineral gray SVT Cobra Terminator, and we were thinking that it was coming out of one of the valve cover breathers because he added a hose from one of the valve covers, and instead of having a catch can, he had it running just into an open bottle until he could get a catch can. And we thought that it was dripping down onto the K-member because he had that extra hose draped down and just venting into the atmosphere down below towards the K-member, but he had driven it for a little while after that, and it still dripped oil in the garage. And so he asked if I would come over, and he would get the car up on the ramps, and I could jump under there and help look around. And so I was looking underneath the car, and of course the first place I was looking was the K-member because that's where we were thinking the oil was coming from, but that wasn't the case. And I looked at the oil filter adapter gasket because those are known to leak, although this car should have a relatively new one from having the engine rebuilt recently. And so that wasn't the case. It did look like there was a little bit of oil around the bolts for there, but it wasn't like a constant drip or anything. And we were looking at the oil filter, making sure it was on nice and snug. And we were also looking at the oil cooler to make sure that it wasn't dripping out of there. And I had unplugged the oil pressure sensor, and I think I did that so I could get an extension up there to see if those bolts were snug on the oil filter adapter. And I had it apart like that, and then he ran the car, and I was under there looking, and I forgot to plug the sensor back in. But it was a good thing I did that because I don't know if I ever would have figured this out. Because as the car was running, even though that connection was unplugged, I noticed that there was oil starting to ooze out of the oil pressure sensor itself. And I know this is really difficult to see. I was trying to get the camera to focus on it, but you can't see it very well. But inside the sensor there's a couple of pins in there, and I think they got bent somehow, and they had cracked the housing or something because oil just was seeping out of that while the car was running. And so it was a pretty easy fix. We went down to the Ford dealership and we just picked up a brand new sensor here, and it just threads in. It already has Loctite on it. We may have put a little RTV around it just to be sure, but anyway, it's a really cool new piece. It's a lot different than the other ones I had seen. It matched up pretty well, but it's actually blue, so it was pretty cool that that was the fix. We were both relieved. It was an easy fix. We didn't have to take apart the oil cooler or drop the oil filter adapter gasket, drain the coolant, all that stuff. And I don't know if I would have found that without the car running with that connector disconnected. So I thought that was cool. So thanks for watching. I hope you learned from this just like I did. Hopefully this helps somebody else out. It's not very common, so I wouldn't say that this is going to happen a lot, but this was just a really unique experience. Again, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more Mustang content.